Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Favi, and welcome back to Arrows DIY. Today we're going to have some fun using Iron Orchid Designs transfer pack and melange to make some beautiful wood decor for your home or for Mother's Day DIY gifts. I hope that you enjoy. So the first project, we're going to be using this bamboo Tostonera. This is used for smashing plantains or dough. Every Hispanic home probably has one of these, unless you use the bottom of a cup, but it's okay. We're gonna make it beautiful today. Let me know if you know what this is in the comments below. And it's traditional to my culture. I'm making this one for my mother, and I hope that she likes it. So, as you can see, it was $1.79, and we're just gonna make it a little more special. I'm gonna take out this transfer pack, and I'm gonna pick one of these transfers, and I settled on this one. I was looking for one that's not too small and not too big, and this one's just right. What I love about these is you can cut them out and customize them to fit your project. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut off the top rows, including the stem. And that one I'm going to set at the top like so. The rest of the image is still a little too big for this piece, so I'm going to continue cutting off pieces to help it fit. So I cut off the little cluster of roses, the little buds up there, the top left corner, and then I'm just going to peel it off and transfer it on. Once I get my placement right, I'm going to press it down with my hands. I'm going to press my fingers all over the image, and then I'm going to take a craft stick and rub the entire face of the image. I'm going to keep rubbing until the transfer changes color into more of an opaque color, and that's when you know that the image is fully transferred. I did go around the corners with some of the leaves because I didn't want to rip them off. And then I'm going to take the clear film and rub it all over the face of the transfer to make sure that the image is fully placed on the surface. I also do this to the edges to make sure that the leaves are pressed down into the. And now I'm going to use this cluster of roses in this spot right here. I feel like these little rosettes fit perfectly in this little nook on top. So once I'm sure about the placement, I press it down and then I rub it with a craft stick just like so. Now you do want to be careful and not shift the image as you're rubbing it. So try to keep the craft stick on the clear film. And then once you're done applying the image, you take the plastic film on top and you're just going to rub the image in, which is just called varnishing. You're just going to varnish it down to make sure that it's completely transferred to your surface. Now I'm going to take the other rosette and I'm going to layer it. Now that's another thing that's awesome about these transfer packs, that you can layer them to make your own customized design. So that's what I'm doing here with this one rosebud overlapping the other transfer to create a new image. Now you do want to be careful when you're using a craft stick. If you see my craft stick there, it's turning black on the top because the ink from the grid side of the film is, the black ink from the grid is transferring onto my craft stick. So you do want to be careful when you're rubbing it so that you are not causing black marks on your piece. Now I did get some black smudges from the craft stick, but I'm going to remedy that in a second and you'll see what I do. Now I just take this little piece of the transfer that says 1922 and I'm going to rub it right there in the corner. I love to use all of these little pieces of the transfer. So although I'm not using all the pieces on this specific project, I will be using them in other projects in the future. So I do hold on to any pieces that I cut off for future projects. Now if you see that a piece of the transfer does not transfer, you could always just place it right on top in position and rub it down. Now I'm going to seal this with dishwasher safe Mod Podge because this is a kitchen tool. I'm going to go ahead and just give this 2 coats of the dishwasher safe Mod Podge. So here I am using the eraser, trying to take off those black smudges caused by the craft stick rubbing on the black ink of the grid. And I'm just going to go ahead and take off all of those spots. And this works fairly well. Once I get that all off, I wipe off the surface, and then I'm just going to coat the entire thing with 2 layers of the dishwasher safe Mod Podge. And I love applying that with this sponge applicator because I can apply it with the tip of it, and then I can wipe off any excess with the bottom part on the sides of the applicator to make sure I don't apply too much. And as it dries, I just used a little paint bottle to hold it open as the Mod Podge dried. Now keep in mind this does take 28 days to cure, so keep that in mind before you try washing this item. But this is how it turned out. Let me know what you all think. I also made some pot holders off camera, and this is going to make an awesome gift for my mom on Mother's Day. I hope she loves it as much as I do. Now for this next project, we're going to take this round wood planter. This was sent to me from plaidonline.com. I am a Plaid ambassador, and I really enjoy using their products. So today we're just going to make over this wood planter. You could do this on any planter. I'm going to take this chalk paint in the color Black Currant, and it's such a fun purple color. I'm going to paint the entire surface of this planter. And I'm just going to give it one coat because I do want to see the wood grain. I love seeing wood grain through paint or stain, just any wood grain, I love it. And I'm going to paint the top lip as well. So this is what it looks like once it's all dry. It's so pretty. I just love the wood grain. And I chose this transfer from the Melange IOD pack of transfers. And I thought it was so lovely. However, it doesn't fit my planter quite right. So I'm going to take out my handy dandy scissors and I'm going to cut right under the flowers. This is going to allow us to overlap this image and have it fit perfectly to size. So as you can see here, I tried to follow the sides of the flowers and basically just make sure you don't cut any flowers in half. So I cut off the leaves, not the flowers. Now we're going to take the bottom part and we're going to apply that on first. So I remove the film from the backer and I'm going to go ahead and just rub this with the craft stick just as before. Fairly simple. Now this is my favorite wave technique for the IOD transfers. Once you rub the entire surface down with the craft stick, just make a little wave with the film itself and the transfer just flies right off the film. Then I varnish it once it's removed. Now this part here is a little tricky because you have to make sure that the outside border lines up perfectly before you press it down. So once it lines up perfectly around the perimeter to create the image, I overlap the image and rub it down with the craft stick just as before. Now I'm going to go ahead and press it all down, and then I do the same wave technique to release the film from the transfer. And before I do that, I'm just making sure that it's all pressed down before I try the wave technique. And then I just varnish it on, and it's just that simple. Now it's perfect like this. If you're the type of person who doesn't like distressing, you could just seal it and leave it like so. It's beautiful as is. I feel like these transfers kind of speak for themselves. They make any piece of decor special. However, I wanted to try something different, and I like, giving you guys ideas. However, this is a fail. So I'm just going to show you my fail. I took some of this crackle medium. I'm not sure if it's expired. I don't think it is though. I don't know what happened here, but I'm just applying the crackle medium. I think maybe I should have mixed it better, but I'm going to show you anyways. I give the whole entire surface one coat of crackle and I let it dry completely. Now I've used Crackle a lot on my channel. I can link other videos where I have used Crackle successfully. But today was, I don't know, just an off day. You know, sometimes we have off days in crafting, and this was one of those days. So just bear with me because the next project is pretty awesome, if I should say so myself. Alright, so I took some antique wax, as you can see, and I watered it down in the cap. And what I wanted to do was create kind of like a crackled aging effect. So I just applied it very lightly over the image using a little chippy brush. Now at this point I've already noticed that it would be a fail because it should have been cracking within 1 minute. Crackle usually starts to crackle and it wasn't happening, so I just thought, okay, I'll leave it on for a couple minutes and see if the crackle starts. Now it did not happen, I told you already, but this is what I was thinking. I was hopeful at this point, so I applied a generous amount of this watered down antique wax. So as you can see, I kind of lightened it up in front of the transfer there, and I made sure to apply it to the inner lip as well so that everything's cohesive. And I went away for some time and I came back and the crackle still hadn't happened. So I took a clean rag and I put some water on it to dampen it some, and then I just wiped off the excess of the antique wax gently. Once I did that, I took another piece of cloth that was dry and I wiped it off the surface just to get any excess residue off, because I was looking for antiquing but not that much antiquing. Then I went around the entire surface of the planter, taking off some of the antique wax and leaving it more heavy on the ends, around the edges on top. And as sad as it is, it didn't come out like I pictured, but it still has a beautiful color on it, so I'm not calling this a total loss. I put a plant inside here to decorate it. I'll show you 2 ways to decorate it. Here's the first one. I just popped in a potted plant, a faux plant from IKEA. And another idea is to just make a beautiful succulent arrangement like so. Let me know which one's your favorite in the comments below. For our next project, we're going to be making this Hexagon plexiglass panel. It's similar to the mirrors from Dollar Tree, but it's a lot larger, and it's not fragile because it is plexiglass, so it might survive in my home. Now I am making this for my mother, so I'm not worried about it surviving in my home really, but I do love the fact that it is durable and it's not glass. So I'm going to take this out of the packaging and I'm going to tape it off. I'm going to tape it off because I'm going to paint it in this color cashmere, which is such a gorgeous chalk paint color. Every time I see this color, I think of my mother. It's the type of color that she would love. It's kind of like a cream with a pink undertone, and it reminds me of the color peach, which happens to be my mother's favorite color. So I'm going to go ahead and just paint the frame on this piece. I paint all the sides, all the edges, everything except the middle part, which is taped off. So once it's all dry, I remove the blue tape, and I did have some parts where it did some bleed through, but not a big deal. Since it is chalk paint, I'd recommend using a soft damp cloth to take off any residue paint, because it is plexiglass, it does scratch, so keep that in mind. Now I'm going to go to the transfer pack, and I settled on this image here. I thought it would go perfect with this cashmere color. Now to help it fit, I put that plexiglass on top of it to give me an idea of what size I was going to need. And once I got my sizing correct, I took a mental picture and I just cut off all the words around this transfer. I did leave the words on the right side because they will fit, and I carefully cut off the words at the bottom, being careful not to cut off that leaf. Then I peeled off the backing and I centered it according to the grid. And as you can see, once I got my placement right, those leaves at the bottom are not going to fit onto the plexiglass. They are going to go over the edge of the frame, and I was okay with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and press it down with my hand, and then with the craft stick, I'm gonna gently rub all over. Now this transfer is one of the bigger transfers in this book, so it does take some time. And any parts of the transfer that didn't want to transfer, I just put my finger on top and let some of the warmth from my finger persuade it to transfer on to the piece. And as you can see, this transfer is just so beautiful. I love the vibrant colors in this transfer. I think this transfer would be beautiful for springtime decor or any Mother's Day gift. So I did have some of the transfer onto the frame, but I'm not worried about that because I'm going to add something to the bottom of this frame. You could totally leave it plain. As you can see there, a little piece of the leaf came off, so I just used a little tool to help me transfer it to that spot there. You could leave this frame plain because it's beautiful as is, but I wanted to add a little different. So at Michael's, I grabbed this ribbon assortment pack. It gives you 2 yards worth of a wide variety of ribbon for $1. I found it on clearance, so I'm going to pull out any ribbon that match the transfer we're using today. And we're going to make a shabby bow. My mother doesn't really like rustic decor, but she does like shabby chic. So we're going to shabby chic this decor piece up. Now this one here, this wide ribbon was so beautiful, but the green trim had to go because it does not go. It wasn't the correct green for this specific image. So once I cut off that green trim, I started by making an awareness ribbon shape with my ribbon. And I'm going to continue this shape with every single ribbon I add on from this point on. So at the bottom, we're just going to make a cross with the ribbon with a loop at the top. And I just continue adding on the ribbon. First, I start with the wider ribbons, and then I add on the thinner ones. For the thinner ones, I did fold them in half so that they would go further and make more of a shabby, bushy bow statement. I wanted it to be bushy on top and more thinned out at the bottom. So once I had them all in position, I grabbed the top of the loop in the awareness ribbon and I brought the top of the awareness ribbon down to the middle where the ribbons crossed, and this just made the bow form. Then I held it with one hand, I cinched it, and then I tied it all together by wrapping some jute twine around the center. Then I double knotted the twine at the back, cut off the twine, and now I'm going to cut off the loops on both sides. You could leave the loops as is, but I like to cut mine on my shabby bows. So I did this for all of the ribbon on both sides. And after I do this, I am going to cut a slanted edge on some of the ribbon. I left the thinner ribbon natural as is, and then I cut the thicker ribbon at a slant. And this is totally personal preference, so you do what you like. Once I cut the loops off the ribbon, I cut the longer pieces of ribbon at the bottom on a slant as well. And then next I took one of the satin ribbons and I'm going to cover the center of the bow to make it look more finished. And I just did that by knotting it in the middle very tight. And I actually double knotted it. And I let the tails of this knot hang and just join in with the other ribbons in the shabby bow. and this is how it's looking. It definitely adds personality to the piece. And as you can see here, I'm just going to cut slants in the thicker ribbon. Now the good thing about this bow is you can still customize it, so if you find that one shape is thicker than the other, you can always pull the ribbon back to the other side of the bow. Now I'm just going to hot glue the back of the bow right to the bottom center of this piece, and that's it for this one. Like I said before, if shabby chic is not your thing, you definitely don't have to do this. But if you like it, you could always use your ribbon that would be perfect for your decor aesthetic in your home. So don't be afraid to make this your own. You could also leave it plain if you don't like that kind of stuff. It's all up to you. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments below. But this next project, we're going to be using this oval piece. It's so beautiful, and it's called Beaded Edge Plaque on the Plaid website. So this is what it looks like, and it's fairly large. Now, I took off all the hardware in the hanger, but all of my subscribers get a 15% off on the Plaid online website. If you guys want any of these products, check the description box below for the link to Plaid online, as well as the code for my subscribers, which is Favi123. I'll leave all that info in the description box below. Now I'm going to use some of this apple barrel paint. It's an indoor and outdoor paint, which is more durable of paint, and it's also in the gloss finish, which I thought would be perfect for this project. Now my paintbrush still had some of the cashmere color in there, so you are going to see some blending, and I am totally okay with that. I love blending my colors. If you're new around here, I love blending colors, and I don't sweat small stuff, so if there is some blending of the colors, I'm happy with that. But you know, if you want to wash your paintbrushes, do what you want in your craft space. Be free to create your way. So I paint the front and the back in this paint. Now Plaid sent me this distressing tool. I've never seen it before, but I figured, hey, let's try it out. So as you can see here, I'm trying to distress this stuff using the tool. I tried. What I recommended, I'm not sure. It might work better on chalk paint because I was using it on this acrylic paint, but I went back to my good old sandpaper, and it took a lot of scrubbing, but I just scruffed it up some because I love seeing that wood grain through that black paint. It's just so good. So I do that for all the beads as well as all the stuff. My light went out. Sorry about that. I can't believe I didn't edit that out. Sorry about that. Now I use the soft paintbrush to take off all the dust and help me get all the dust out between those little beads. So once everything was nice and clear, I'm going to go in with this transfer, and it's going to look so pretty on this black background. I'm going to cut off all the words around the transfer, and I'm also going to cut that rose on the right. It was just sticking out a little too much, and I'm going to hold on to it for another project. Yes I am. I'm going to hold on to that. And I'm going to cut off this specific rose because it was just in the wrong spot for my specific project. Like I said, don't be afraid to cut your transfers and customize them to fit your specific project. I'm also going to have to cut off those leaves at the bottom. And at this point, you must be thinking, is she even going to use this transfer at all? I've cut off half of the transfer at this point. But you'll see, we could just build whatever image we want. So I'm going to cut off the top here so it fits in the oval a lot better, because it is helpful for it to be flat, for it to fit perfectly. And then I'm going to add this rose right here, like so. So I peel off the film, and I try to get the position perfect before I press it down. I did not want any of the actual image to not be on this. I wanted all the stems, I wanted all the petals. So with some strategic placement, I was able to get all of it on there, and I was so happy with the result. Once I rubbed the craft stick over the entire image, I went in with the same wave technique trick. And this hack for IOD transfers is amazing. I find it so helpful to get that image released from the film. And then I varnished the image with the same clear film to make sure it's all pressed down. Now I decided to add this little rosette on the side because I just thought it was so pretty. So I went ahead and I just added it right here. And once I got it all pressed down, just as before, using the craft stick, we're going to rub it all over the face of this transfer. I have so much fun creating with these IOD products, and they're just so pretty. I love the colors. I love it all. I'm going to use this clear wax white Waverly to seal this project. So I just have a little cloth and I'm just going to buff it out. So once I apply a good healthy coat all over the inner portion, I'm going to go ahead and rub it until it is buffed out. So you should see no streaks. So just continue rubbing in a circular motion until you don't see any marks. You basically want to rub it in until you see no streaks. And that's how it's looking. I think it's awesome just like this. You can hang it from the wall just like this. But I had this candlestick from the Dollar Tree that I had used last year on another project. And I love using hot glue because I could just customize my projects by popping off the candlestick. But you can use whatever candlestick you like. And now this sign becomes a riser. Now you don't have to use this candlestick. You can use, like I said, anything at all. And this is just the most prettiest riser. You could put your makeup on here, your jewelry, your keys, whatever you like in your home, your perfumes. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments below. I'm giving this one to my aunt for Mother's Day. She loves red roses, so this is perfect. Okay friends, sadly that wraps up the video for today. Let me know which one of these projects was your favorite. I always love creating fun home decor on my channel, so please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. You can support my channel for free by hitting the thumbs up button and share this video to someone you think might enjoy it. You could support my channel financially by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/arrowsdiy. All the links are in my description box below. Thank you so much for watching, friends. Take care, God bless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye! If you like this video, here's another one you might enjoy.